Okay, we're Hilchos Deios, Paragimel, the third chapter. Tzor chodem sheyichave in libo v'chol masav kul leidas Hashem baruch hu levad. This is interesting. Every action we do, it has to be coupled with the intent. Leid Hashem baruch hu levad, only to know God. What does that mean? You're doing the action to know God. What I think, we ourselves are a composite of physical and material. The soul is spiritual, and the body is material. Our physical senses do not allow us to sense God. Unless the physical action is infused with an intent, only then is one's spiritual nerve endings do they begin becoming sensitive to the innate value of what existence is. And the more we spiritualize ourselves, the more we become aware of God's presence. I'll give you an example. We've mentioned the name of the Ramak, Ramosha Kurdaviro, who was a colleague of the Arizal, who lived in Sfad in the late 1400s, writes, in the morning we say in the blessings of the Shema, Hashem kulam masiso. How great, how wondrous are your actions. They're all made with exceptional wisdom. So he explains, when you look at any part of creation, if you analyze it, the level of genius is divine, and it's God's fingerprint. But yet, in our wake state, we experience and we're exposed to many things in existence, aware of many things within ourselves. We breathe, we digest our food, we do our bodily functions. The blessing you say after doing your bodily functions, we describe how miraculous the system is, how the body was created, and afterwards the body empties itself of the waste. And only because of that could we live and survive and be healthy. It's miraculous, it's wondrous, but we're not impressed. Because anything we do, it's purely a mundane act. But let's say when you do that action, you put the dollar in the tzedakah box for the sake of the mitzvah tzedakah. You sing God's praises with your mouth and with your energy and with your mind, and you articulate it. What are you doing? Although you're doing a physical action, but that action that you're doing is spiritualizing you because the intent is being fully invested in God's glory. So when you use the physical that we're endowed with, we become spiritualized, so that our actions allows us leidas Hashem. It brings us to know God. Person says, how are you so intimate with God? How do you know him? Person says, wherever I look, I only see him. Nowhere, no experience in my life do I have, which I see the hand of God. It's miraculous. So, yeah, why do you see miracles? The other person doesn't see miracles. Because that certain things happen, it wouldn't be God's intervention, it wouldn't happen. There's an expression, we take things for granted. What does a person take things for granted? It could be for many reasons. Because of expectations. I expect it. But if you don't expect it, all of a sudden you see things differently. The same thing. God's presence is obvious. His genius is divine. But we just gloss over it all. But if whatever we do in life, we awaken in the morning and we say, Modani l'fanecha, melech chai v'kayom. We give thanks to God that we've awoken, we're alive, and we're functioning. And we say the blessings of praise. We're able to stand, to sit up, to dress, to walk, to see, we went to sleep fatigued. We wake up energized. Is that just a result of sleeping, or that has to do with God's intervention? And those say God gives power to the weary, to the fatigued. That's why it happened. So if everything is put through that lens, all of a sudden you begin seeing God. You begin knowing God. And therefore he says, you have to direct all your actions and your emotion to know God, bilvad. That's your only intent. If that's your intent, you're going to see him and you're going to know him. The shifto v'kumo. When you're sitting, when you rise, v'dibur, and when you speak, hakolu mazer, all for this, in this direction, for this sake. You know, a person who's very intelligent, when he speaks, he doesn't, not one word is superfluous. Every word is intelligent. Everything that you hear is what to learn from. Why? Because it's emanating from a very intelligent person who doesn't waste his words. And he thinks very well before he speaks. That person, he's conditioned when he speaks, he's very conscious of what comes out of his mouth. It's just not, speech is just a reflex of being awake, a reflex of being touched. And all of a sudden you speak. It's like when I stick you with a pin, you say, ouch. That's not something which is premeditated. Did you say, ouch? It's a response or a reaction to pain. A very intelligent person, it's not a reaction to anything. It's thought, deliberate, and it's expressed. But that comes through training and through understanding and through studying. Identically, to be able to see God and to sense God, that all comes from years and years of fusing your acts with an intent. And once you have that intent, then you get to know God. Person negotiates for a contract, to do some kind of work, to be paid for it. It's not only should be for the sake of just amassing money. The yeshivas, bayis, and the siyas isha. It should not be purely for the sake of security, amassing money. It should be for the sake of what? Of eating and drinking, which are basic amenities of life. Being able to afford to get married. What the value of that is. Person eats, drinks, cohabits. It should not be purely for the sake of pleasure, which touches upon indulgence. Because if that happens, if you don't eat to live, but you live to eat, then you become very, very selective. You're eating so the palate should sense some sweetness. Because it's not the eating for survival or for existence to give you ability. The evil kadei lohanos, elo lasus dvar me'elo kadei lohanos. Excuse me, elo yosa libo shioch v'yishtei lahavros gufo. When you eat and drink, it should be for health reasons. That your body should be healthy. Ve'vor bilvod, your body and your limbs should be functional. To maximize on their potential ability. Lefichach lo yochal kol shachech misave kekelev v'chamor. You should not eat something, only eat things which the palate desires, like a dog and like a donkey. It's interesting, the whole concept of salivating. See, a dog salivates. The way it pants, and then it eats. Elo yochal dvar ma'il l'guf imorim sukim. You should eat something which is beneficial to the body, whether it's bitter or sweet. Because you're not eating for the pleasure. Pleasure is just a byproduct. The main focus is what? To be healthy. And we'll see in a moment, you have an obligation to maintain your health. You should not eat anything which has a negative effect on your physicality, although they're sweet to the palate. Talk about sugar. We talk about processed flour. Today we know a little bit, but it's tasty. It chews easily. It's attractive. It's sweet, whatever it is. But if it's something which has a negative side to it, it affects you physically. Ketzad, mishoye besoro cham, lo yochel bosov lo dvash lo yishte yayin. Person has like a passionate predilection. He's like hot-blooded. He should not play into that. He eats what? Eats meat. Drinks wine. He satisfies his whole predilection. Kin Shama Shlomo derech Moshe echol dvash. The times Shlomo says you should eat sweet things, honey. V'shoze kol ushin me ushin api shumar. You drink the liquid of ulshin. I'm not sure what ulshin is. Some kind of herb, which the extract is bitter. It's a conditioning. You're conditioning yourself that the only thing that interests you is something which is beneficial to you. As a result, that you take control of your desires, of your inclinations. You're inclined to everything which is more pleasurable, more tasty, more indulgent. So, but if you only eat and only engage in things which are necessities, and it's irrelevant whether it's sweet or bitter or whatever it may be, as they say, you do what you have to do. So once you condition yourself to that, it's not just that selective. As a result of that, you're always going to only do things that are going to be beneficial to you. Because in the past or in the present, even if it's bitter, you're going to eat it if that's healthier. That you should increase your health and be considered complete. Person can only live if you eat and drink. It's a necessity of life. So now that you're eating, drinking, how do you eat and drink? How much do you eat and drink? What do you eat and drink? Even when a person cohabits, and we're talking about not even procreation. Lo yivol lahavri gufo, to be healthy, sometimes you have to, certain conditions develop because a person doesn't use that function. Ugadei l'kaimus zera, and what? And to maintain the species, to have children. That should be your intent. Not indulgent, like we'll see, like an animal. Like an animal with teeth can't control itself. Person should be deliberate, even in these areas. The fichoch in a boil calls manchi save. He doesn't cohabit whenever he has a desire. Elo kol eishi yeda shu tzorich. Lotzi shirva zera koder chafua. So when you have to expel the semen, because it creates problems if you don't, or to maintain, to have children. That's why. The Gemara tells us that the first trimester of pregnancy when the husband engages with the wife sexually, it's not necessarily not good for the child, not good for the husband, not good for the woman, because it's the first trimester. Everything is very iffy the first trimester. The second trimester, it's good for the child, and it's not necessarily good for the woman. She's carrying. The third trimester, it's good for the child, it's good for the woman carrying the child. Why? Because it's good for the child, because as the child is developing, the semen, that act with the semen, invigorates the child. The child develops more qualitatively, physically speaking, and spiritually. And the wife, having that experience together with the child developing in her womb, also is beneficial. You very rarely do you hear that a woman miscarries in the third trimester. Second trimester, yes, could be. So there's a certain aspect of uncertainty in the second trimester. The unborn fetus is definitely a beneficiary, but she may not be, and she may miscarry. The first trimester, everything's questionable. Everything's up in the air. The child may not develop normally. The woman may be able to carry the child. So therefore, the likelihood of miscarriage is stronger than the first 3 months. Second 3 months, it's less likely because it's something good for the child. And the third trimester, it's good for the child and good for the wife, for both. Hamanek atzma pig harafur. He's speaking like a doctor. He says a person who conducts his life based on health, healing. If his focus was only mainly that physically he should be wholesome, he should be whole. And he wants to have children. In the old days, you need farmhands. Who are the farmhands? Who is the foreman? Your children. So people had children to be able to be part of the workforce for the family. Even if that would be your only intention. Even that's not appropriate. Well, it's purposeful. It's not just, it's a means to an end. A means to an end. I should have a family. People say, you know something? I'm the happiest person. I have a family. At least now, my old age, my children take care of me. You hear that? And that's a pitch why people should have children. Because people only realize when it's too late that they don't have that to fall back on. You have children that you did for them. When you get old, they'll do for you. It may be true, but that's not the reason why you should have children. El Yosem Alibo She'egufo Sholem. The Chozok. The reason why you do these things is to be complete and healthy and strong. Kedei Shetichye Nafsho Yishoro Yishoro Lodas Hashem. As a result of doing all that, by the body being healthy, we'll see in a moment, the Rambam says, a healthy mind requires a healthy body. Because if you're distracted with ailments and pains due to your not maintaining yourself appropriately, it becomes you lose clarity. It's a distraction. So a person who follows this prescription of life, derech harafua, the way doctors prescribe, and you adhere to it accurately and appropriately and responsibly, now what do you use that body for now? Now that you have the healthy body, you have the healthy mind, what should it be invested in? Your spirit, the soul should be straight to know God. You're in that narrow corridor leading straight up. This, it's not possible to understand, to reflect in all areas of wisdom, not only Torah, Vuroiv, if a person's hungry simultaneously. You're hungry, it's a distraction. V'chol, he's not well. El echod meivar koiv, one of his limbs is hurting him. It's a distraction. It diminishes one's clarity. V'yosem al libo shia lo ben ulai yechochom v'godlu b'shro, and we have in mind, if I have a child, you pray and hope it'll be one of the Torah leading sages of the generation. Even an ordinary person has this in mind. Person who follows this prescription of life continuously. You eat healthy, you sleep healthy, you take care of yourself. So to be healthy, that person will be considered serving God his whole life. Because the only reason why he is healthy and has no distractions, and he's come upon what he sees, is because he has that ability to see and focus. If you'd be distracted with all these side issues, you wouldn't understand and be able to internalize what you are internalizing. The person who walks this path his whole life, it's considered he's like serving God his whole life. Because these are all prerequisites and necessities to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, you don't see it. You're preoccupied with yourself. Even when you're engaged in thick and thin of the negotiation, or the person is cohabiting. One's intent, one's actions infused within the intent. The intent is I want to have a healthy body because I want to serve God. Because anything less than that, you're not going to be able to serve him appropriately. Because as he said before, there's distraction. Give you an example. Person's training for the heavyweight championship, boxing championship. Every day he eats a certain diet, trains so many hours, and this is day in and day out. And he's building a very powerful body. They say, what's the value of all this? So you don't know? I'm gonna work to win the title of world heavyweight champion. So it's not that I should have a physique that people should admire. This is all I should be able to get into the ring and have victory. We're here on this earth ultimately to bring victory. What's victory? Making enough right choices and having that level of clarity. So that's all we're talking about is a prerequisite to that. How are you in a position that you're fully balanced, that when you can't have a challenge, you see it as it is, and therefore you can make the proper decision. That to make the right choice. That's what he's talking about. Okay, I'm going to ask for some comments.